On top stories this hour, Academic Staff Union of Universities asks federal government to improve funding for public universities. PDP in Bielsa State says party structure remain unified despite Governor Doyediri's resignation. Osun government seeks withdrawal of suit instituted against Cbn Accountants General of the Federation. On the foreign scene, Colonel Michael Radrianirina sworn in as new president of Madagascar today. Good evening, this is news at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Olufemi Alabe. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has called on the federal government to improve funding for public universities. It warned that sustainable investment in education remained the only path to ending strikes and raising the global ranking of Nigerian universities. The union made its position clear when it appeared before the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund at the National Assembly on Friday. ASU President Chris Piwuna, who spoke on behalf of the union, stated that the ongoing two-week warning strike resulted from long-standing issues that dated as far back as 2011. According to him, the key demands of ASU, including sustainable funding, improved conditions of service, revitalization of public universities, and academic autonomy, remain unchanged. The union also challenged the Senate Committee to push the government to increase funding. On funding delays, Pinguna revealed that although the National Assembly approved 150 billion naira for universities, only 50 billion naira had been released so far. He noted that even that amount remains stuck at the Ministry of Education, where the minister allegedly intends to share it among universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education, despite separate allocations for those institutions. In a similar development, the Senate has said that it will intervene in the industrial dispute between the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and the federal government. It expressed concern over the government's inability to meet ASU's demands, describing the situation as unacceptable. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund Senator Alihu Denduse disclosed these at a closed-door session with the leadership of ASU. He noted that the Senate would immediately initiate a negotiation process involving key stakeholders, including ASU, the Ministry of Education, and the National Universities Commission, to chart a path toward a permanent resolution of the crisis. To address the controversial issues surrounding the University of Abuja land, the committee confirmed that the Senate would also engage with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Osun to find an amicable solution. The committee further urged ASU to formally submit a comprehensive list of their demands in writing to allow the Senate to assess both immediate and long-term legislative and policy measures needed to address the challenges plaguing the sector.
And on our resolution, the Senate is not happy that the agreement by the government to ASU has not been fulfilled. The Senate agreed to convey the government agencies and ASU, most especially the Ministry of Education and NUC, for a negotiating as soon as possible so that we can resolve this lingering problem. Senate agrees to interface with the Minister of FCT to ensure Universities Abuja land is not taken from them. Also, other needs will be studied and appropriate steps will be taken to ensure amicable resolution. And we want the leadership of ASU to write all the issues they raise in our discussion so that we can pass the Ministry of Education together with them by Tuesday or Wednesday to ensure that our children are back to school, and also to ensure that the government look into the immediate and the long-term measures to be taken to resolve most of the lingering situations in the tertiary institution.
Well, the federal government says the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, remains the requisite requirement admission into tertiary institutions in Nigeria. This was contained in a statement by a spokesperson for the Federal Ministry of Education, Bulriowo Folashade. She denied reports that the government has scrapped the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME, saying the ministry never issued authorized any such announcement. According to the statement, the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, reaffirmed the ministry's unwavering partnership with JAMB and other relevant agencies to uphold transparency, fairness, and merit in Nigeria's tertiary education admission system. Unconfirmed rumors were spreading on social media that the government's recent review of admission criteria had excluded the UTME. The government had in the review made it possible for candidates without a credit in mathematics in their senior school certificate examination to get admissions into programs in the Faculty of Arts. The reform, according to the government, is to expand access of candidates to tertiary institutions. Away from education, Imo State's Governor Hope Uzodinma says the policies he introduced by President Bola Tinubu have made Nigeria rich again. According to Uzodinma, who is also the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Tinubu met a Nigeria that was almost drowning in 2023, but discovered the cancer that held the country down and took bold decisions as a bold leader. Uzodinma said this at the APC Governors Forum stakeholders meeting on Friday. He noted that though Nigerians have faced extreme hardship when the policies, including the removal of fuel subsidy, were introduced, there is a jubilation everywhere.
And nothing can beat this. Let me tell you, the truth is that there is only one political party in Nigeria. And the name of that political party is All Progressive Congress. Have you not seen on the television? If you go to the National Assembly every day, you see senators and House of Reps people leaving their parties and joining APC. You go on your left side, you see governors leaving their parties and joining APC. It is not born out of nothing. It is the conviction that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has performed. It's a testament to the fact that Nigeria is now working again. So let us celebrate for being part of this national history, for seeing this thing happen at our time, so that APC will not only be congratulated for providing leadership. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not only be commended for providing leadership and for recovering Nigeria, reconstructing Nigeria, and rehabilitating Nigeria. But must be remembered in a history as a man who came, saw, and succeeded. So we are here to fraternize with you, our brothers and sisters, and to tell you that we are with you and that your leaders are doing well.
Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde says the most important defection in Nigeria has not yet taken place, what he describes as the defection of hunger and poverty from the country. In his bi-monthly newsletter, Makinde said while the recent defections of some People's Democratic Party PDP governors to the All Progressives Congress APC have dominated national discussions, Nigerians should focus on what economic hardship defects out of their lives, as only then will prosperity return. He said the only defection that truly matters is that of hunger, stressing that Nigerians are struggling to meet basic needs while political realignments continue to attract attention. Makinde noted that the widening inequality gap is deepening frustration and hopelessness across the country, adding that it is a hunger, not a partisanship, that fuels despair. According to him, only the Nigerian people, not defections or political maneuvers, will decide the outcome of the 2027 general election. Before the said, the PDP must rebuild trust by offering solutions to the economic hardship that has worsened under successive governments. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Bayelsa State has said despite the resignation of Governor Doye Diri, the party structure in the state remained solid and unified. Governor Diri, who chaired the PDP zoning committee that allocated the party's presidential ticket to the south, announced his exit from the PDP on Wednesday during an expanded State Executive Council meeting at the Government House in Yenagoa, ending weeks of speculation about his defection. He said the decision followed extensive consultations with key stakeholders in the state. But speaking after an emergency meeting in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, the party said it had formally accepted the resignation of the governor with utmost respect, maintaining that its structure remained intact. The PDP, however, reaffirmed its commitment to the party's vision, goals and objectives, assuring members of continued loyalty and dedication. The State Publicity Secretary, Ebiagu Ogoli, in a statement after the meeting, said all party structures within the Bayelsa State chapter remain solid and unified. In Abia State, Governor Alex Oti has said residents of the state will not be intimidated by the people bent on rigging the 2027 governorship election. Oti warned that those planning to subvert the will of Abia voters by writing election results to write their will. The governor stated these during a monthly meeting with journalists at the Government House in Umaya, the state capital, on Thursday. Oti, who won the 2023 governorship election on the platform of the Labour Party, is currently in his first term of 4 years in office.
I've heard some people around him say, oh, they must take over the state, they will write results. The only advice I have for them is that if they truly want to write results, they should write something else before that time. You know what it is? Their will. Because this is our state, nobody can intimidate us. But having said that, am I threatened? Absolutely no. Do I bother about that? Absolutely no. But I want us to maintain peace and decorum. Okay?
Still talking politics, the African Democratic Congress (ADC) says it is setting out to redesign governance in Nigeria, abandoning the culture of godfatherism, budget padding, and patronage-driven politics, pledging a new model built on transparency, innovation, and citizen participation. Budget padding is a situation in which a budget is made bigger than the original estimate through an increase in the value of items or the introduction of new items into the budget. Some civic groups in June this year condemned the National Assembly for allegedly inserting projects worth 10.96 trillion naira into the national budgets between 2021 and 2025. In a Friday statement, ADC said Nigerian politics has for too long revolved around personalities rather than principles, and power has been used for patronage rather than progress. The statement was shared on the official account of the ADC Coalition Mobilizing Wing, ADC Vanguard on X. The ADC said its vision begins with one simple but radical idea, that government must serve citizens and not politicians. Under an ADC-led government, the party promised that a minimum of 70% of all budgeted projects will be mandated to directly benefit local communities rather than disappearing into bureaucratic bottlenecks or inflated contracts. The Osun State Government on Friday filed a notice of withdrawal of the suit it instituted against the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Accountant General of the Federation at the Federal High Court in Abuja. A counsel to the state's government, Musibau Adetumbi, told Justice Emeka Nwete that the case had been overtaken by event. Adetumbi said the suit, which sought to safeguard the withheld local government funds, has been defeated as the allocation has been moved out of the CBN by the defendants. The Osun Attorney General had on state's government behalf sued the CBN, the Accountant General of the Federation, and the Attorney General of the Federation in the case. Judge Nwete, however, dropped the name of the Attorney General of the Federation from the suit on September 22 after the plaintiff discontinued the case against him, as similar suit was already before the Supreme Court. The suit seeks to stop the federal government from releasing withheld local government allocations to the chairman and councillors elected during former Governor Adegboyega Oyetila's tenure. Meanwhile, CBN's lawyer Muritala Abdul Rashid and that of the Accountant General of the Federation Tajuddin Oladoja did not oppose the application for discontinuance of the suit. Justice Nwete, however, adjourned the matter until October 29 for ruling on the government's application for discontinuance and other applications by the defendants. The judge, in a ruling on Thursday, had dismissed the objection raised by CBN and Accountant General of the Federation against suit. Away from politics, the Federal High Court in Abuja has refused the Nigeria Police Force bid to stop the Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protests, allowing it to proceed as scheduled on Monday, October 20, 2025. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has dispatched police lawyers to the court to move an ex parte motion against activist protest organizer Omoyele Sowore in a bid to legally preempt the planned demonstration slated for the Aso Rock Villa. However, Justice Umar of the Federal High Court Abuja declined to grant the motion, which would have immediately restrained the protest from taking place without hearing the opposing side. The judge instead instructed the police to formally serve notice of the application on Sowore and adjourn the case until Tuesday for a proper contested hearing. Reacting to the judicial decision, the protest convener, Sowore, affirmed the court's decision as a victory for civil liberties and doubled down on the scheduled protest. The demonstration, organized under the hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu Now, is intended to draw attention to the prolonged detention of legal fate of Kanu. Still to come, United States Embassy on Abuja issues a security alert to Americans ahead of the Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest slated for Monday. We'll bring you more on this when we return.